Hey everybody, welcome to the channel. Glad to have you here. Today we're going to be watching two battles where the vampires take on the Beastmen. In this first one, I'm going to be the vampires, and in the next one, I will be playing as the Beastmen. And I think this is an interesting matchup. Both sides definitely have their powerful tools, and I definitely think the vampires, being like one of the top tier factions, have a slight edge in this matchup. They can kind of dictate the pace of the battle a bit more than the Beastmen. So for my anti-Beastman vampire army, I do have a core of Graveguard being supported by 3 Cryptors here. Directly behind them is a Necromancer, and he does have a number of things. Let's pause it here so he doesn't run away from me. You can see here he's boosting all their attacks. He's replenishing their life. He's also replenishing their life because he's Master of the Dead. So he has all those things, and then he also is going to have Curse of Undeath. So when I'm casting, it'll heal all my troops on the battlefield 80 health, or whatever it is. I think it is 80. But so very powerful ability, and I'm going to be getting a lot of healing done here for this main line without casting any healing spells. So I'm just going to be he only. If we take a look at his spells, we're just going to take all of your day here. You can see he only has Raise Dead. So he's going to get 7 of these Curse of Undeaths off. And then that's going to be healing up a lot of my troops. And then, of course, I do have the Red Duke here. He does have Invocation of Nehek. Primarily, he's going to be running around with the Blood Knights. You can see here he does have Elsif, his whole kit, really, except for Foe Seeker. And he does have Invocation of Nehek. And I brought this guy because I wanted a bit of killing power against Morgur, especially. Getting late in the game, I wanted to be able to go toe-to-toe with him. And it only costs an extra 200 something to put him on the dragon to get that good armor-piercing damage. So I figured, why not? I felt free to just kind of toss him up there. I do have 3 Skeleton Spearmen here, around here, and 3 might have not been enough, to be honest, because I really felt like there would be potential for large units on the field. Minotaurs, Giants especially, so 3 I felt was a risky pick, but it also left me with enough money here to deal with kind of the infantry of typical Beastmen builds. And then, of course, over on the far side, I do have Blood Knights and Dire Pack, and that wraps up my army. So over here, you can see he does have kind of a cavalry contingent, 2 Chaos Warhounds, and a Centaur with great weapons. These guys are going to be heavily outclassed by my contingent, but on paper, I guess on paper, it looks like he does have 3 units here, and it might look like he can win against the Blood Knights, but he's really not going to be able to. Blood Knights are just such a beast of a unit. And then you can see his main line here, maybe expecting more skeleton warriors, but he has a ton of Gore Herd. And then on each side, he does have a Bestigore. Backing them up, there's some Minotaurs with great weapons, and then I think just regular Minotaurs here. And he does have a Brave Shaman of Shadows, so we'll be seeing some awesome Pit of Shades action. And then in the middle here, you can see Morgur, because of course, why would you bring anybody else? And I think that wraps up the battle here. So you can see it's going to get started pretty quick. Very brave from my opponent. You can see what I'm going to do. I'm going to pull out one unit, pull out the other, turn around and charge, turn around, and just sandwich these guys. And it's going to be just an incredible waste of resources here as the zombie dragon comes in here, triggers the terror, and you can see these guys instantly routing. Invocation of Nehek is going to come down and make all these guys kind of useless. Oh boy. Here you can see Pit of Shades is being dropped. You can see grabs just a couple of Graveguard and is sending them cascading into the Cryptors. Cryptors are really not going to take very much damage here. And you can see he did get that overcast penalty. So definitely probably a better choice to wait till my Graveguard are engaged here. because if I had just been a little slower on the charge there, it would have done a ton of damage. So you can see here, I'm actually going to pull, I realize I'm going to win this front line, I don't have to worry about that. So I'm going to pull my Cryptors here, and get them to where they need to go. I need them to be at the fighting those Bestigor, and I'm also going to bring them in to start trying to get some early damage here on Morgur, and just really support this main line, because they will be crushed just by Morgur alone. Over on this side, you can see some Minotaurs coming in against my Spearmen. Not the best choice, but here much better. They are coming in against this Sternsman. And I will be soon here bringing in these Spearmen to support. And you can see this flank is cleared up, and I'll be moving my stuff around here to see what sort of flanking charges I can get. See, now that the Pit of Shades is over, I'm going to be moving the Necromancer up, start summoning a crazy amount of zombies. You can see that Bray Shaman of Shadows coming around there. The Skeleton Spearman is just getting massacred on the side, and that's okay. I don't really mind. And here comes the Bray Shaman on his chariot. Gonna do some decent damage here. It's a great way to make your Shaman a little bit more versatile. But here, this is me trying to catch that guy, but he was a little too quick for me. I'm going to be bringing these Blood Knights in for a rear charge, and it is just going to be devastating. Red Duke's going to go try and support this line. Here, let's watch this charge. Crush between Blood Knights and Cryptors. This is not the place these Bestigor want to be. Just completely annihilated. Oh, man. Poor Bestigor. You're going to see they're instantly going to break. And here come my Dire Pack. You can see my front line is not doing too bad. And now it is getting healed from the R of the Necromancer, and then from the constant summoning of my Necromancer and my Red Duke. You can see here just a ton of zombies, making their lives difficult. Cryptors are now going to come in, start fighting these Minotaurs, and these Blood Knights are just going to kind of go on patrol duty. I really didn't know where to put them, so they're just going to kind of keep mopping up stuff. Here you can just see this Aura again, another Pit of Shades coming down on the Sternsman. And I'm just glad he's targeting this unit. It does have regeneration, so I don't feel too worried about it. You can see the Dire Pack in there against the Minotaurs. Skeleton Spearmen really need to be microed back. Here you can see finally those guys are going to go down. Chaos Spawn being spawned on this side though, which is not good. And you can see this side is faltering, but I'm kind of crushing through the middle here. So you can see actually a lot of my units idle here, not the best. Zombies in the back as well, semi-idle. You can see these Blood Knights, these poor Gore Herd, not even turned around yet. Just going to get flattened by that amazing Blood Knight charge. Really just trying to stop these routing units from getting back. Here, great move with these Minotaurs with great weapons. Going to pull them in against the Red Duke. But the Red Duke is just so powerful, especially on his dragon. These guys are going to have a hard time, especially when I'm summoning zombies. And you can see just how many zombies I can swarm this guy with. It's going to make it very difficult for these Minotaurs to actually get their attacks on the Red Duke, while he's going to have a really easy time here, just like eating them for breakfast. And you can see Morgur here, even just that consistent damage from the Graveguard is going to shatter him. And really it's just the Chaos Spawn left on this side. And you can see just how effective that main line was. You can see these Graveguards still very full health, or they're all half health. Considering they were fighting Morgur and Gore Herd, which are not a cheap unit. They're approximately the same cost as the Graveguard. You can see they just did work. They were a little chevroned up. You can see even more zombies coming up. Man, this zombie dragon is just so cool. Eating these Chaos Spawn for breakfast. So yeah, look at that. It's just field of zombies. It's definitely how you imagine them playing. Sadly, you don't get to see that very much in the campaign mode. You can see my Blood Knights here. Got a ton of kills. My Dire Pack doing really well. My Cryptors doing their job. And my Graveguard getting the most kills out of everything. And zombies actually probably getting a lot of kills in here too. You can see these Bestigors did very well. The Minotaurs with great weapons did better than these guys. They got swarmed by the Spearmen pretty early. So probably couldn't have been too cost effective. But you can see that Bray Shaman did okay. Just wish that these first guys here Um, maybe if you just kept them in reserve, they could have been used a lot better there. Maybe even with some, you can use one of the Chaos Warhounds to go charge the Blood Knights, and then drop an Overcast Pit of Shades on the Blood Knights. You can do a ton of damage there like that. Really same kind of tactic as with Foot of Gork. But yeah, but you can see this Gore Herd just suffered going up against that heavily armored front line. So great game to Grumpy Turtle. And now we'll hop over to the next one here. Yeah. So here we go. Now we're gonna be at the Lost Vault of King Lun, and I'm gonna be taking the Beastmen against the Vampire Counts. And you can see here, just obviously right off the bat, I have a ton more Best Gore Herd. I do have one Gore Herd just for dealing with zombie spawns in the back lines. Though I do think I accidentally engage it in combat in this battle rather than using it for zombies. You can see I have a ton of spears to just block zombie spawns, get up into Cryptors, etc., etc. I do have 2 Ungor Raiders. I have 1 Centaur with a Great Weapon, and then I have another Centaur with a Great Weapon out here, who's going to be getting a nice sneaky charge on this Dire Pack. You really got to be careful when you're vanguarding your units like this. And you can see I do have just the Brave Shaman of Wild, trying to keep that morale up, and the Morgar the Shadow gave. My opponent does have the kind of 3 traditional Graveguard core, 2 Spearmen on each side, 1 Spearman in the back, 1 Blood Knight, only 1 Cryptor, which is rather interesting, but he does have this Banshee instead, who will be murdering some people. He does have the Claw of Nagash with its slowing aura, healing aura, and damage aura. So definitely a terrifying unit I have to try and deal with. He does have some Felbats, and then of course he has the Red Duke on his Hell Steed. And again, it's only a couple hundred, it's like 200 more here for the Zombie Dragon. So, I don't know, you just ditch these chevrons on the Skeleton Spearmen and you have a dragon there instead of a Hell Steed. I think it's a pretty good trade, especially when really the Beastmen cannot contest the skies with you. And so having that power there in the air is definitely useful. Here you can see my Centaurs are tearing apart these dire wolves, but they are not going down to the fight. They're going to actually do a ton of damage considering they don't even get the charge there. So just a testament to the Dire Pack. Here comes the Red Duke. Wasn't sure what he was doing, but I will be marching up here soon to get this party started, essentially. I wanted to wait for these guys to be finished off first, but you can see they're just not, even though they're crumbling, they deal almost half the damage to the Centaur with Great Weapons. And that's without the charge. I got a free charge into their flank. So definitely a good unit there, the Dire Pack. Here I do have the Centaurs with Great Weapons. I was just kind of wanted to stop him from flying in and landing willy-nilly here with these Centaurs. But I kind of realize he's not going to do that at this point. And I'm going to kind of keep them postured over here so that I can potentially run the gap if I need to. Whereas my Spearmen over here, I feel like I have enough of them that these Blood Knights are going to be fine. Here, the Centaurs do get stopped by some zombies, and he comes down. But I don't really want this fight. The Centaur is too hurt to really put up a good fight there, so I'm just going to bail and flank around here early on. Here, I'm going to issue some orders. My Ungor Raiders are going to open fire. My heroes are going to come in. The Spearman's going to go deal with the zombie. And you can see getting some nice early damage, but he's going to micro that away. And he actually, critical error here. You see how he's not getting any of those charges? Definitely a mistake there. Those Graveguard are going to suffer early on. But his tactic has made it so that this one Bestigor herd is being attacked by 2 Graveguard. So potentially worth it. Over here you can see my Centaurs still running away from the Red Duke. I'm just happy he's not with the main fight at this point. And you can see my Centaurs here coming around, trying to figure out what to do. His Blood Knights are going to posture up, and I'm going to realize I'm going to lose that fight and get out of there. And maybe, hopefully, if I'm smart, bring up a Spearman to kind of plug this gap. You can see these Skeleton Spearmen are suffering pretty bad. Vile Tide being dropped there, just to keep everybody's vigor up. And here come the Cryptors. So you can see immediately I'm going to be ordering a spear unit in to just counter his picks. And then once I realize he's stopped chasing my Centaurs, I'm going to be bringing them around, hopefully to do some rear charges or to gang up on this Blood Knight. So just tons of options here, and I just need to protect these Ungor Raiders here. But the Red Duke is coming back, so that's going to make that very difficult. And look at me, I accidentally plugged in my anti-zombie unit. What a mistake. This is going to suffer greatly against the Graveguard, just like in that last battle. Here come the zombies. Blocking a lot of my spears from getting into the Cryptors, which is great for my opponent. Here you can see I'm raising some Chaos Spawn, going after this thing with everything I have. I just want it off the field. But now that my archers have been shut down by the Fellbats, soon zombies are going to be plugged in. This is not looking good. A lot of my ways that I can take this thing out are off the field, essentially. So you're going to see that Mortison, that Claw of Nagash, last far longer than it should. What is this? He casts that on some Spearmen, solid. Maybe to help deal with these Chaos Spawn. Here you can see I am going to cast Evolve, just in an effort to kill it. And you can see these horrible micro here. I really need to be pulling these archers out, letting my Spearmen deal with this. You can see I do get a nice rear charge with these Centaurs, and I'm going to be pulling them out here soon. And you can see these Blood Knights are in here trying to deal with Morgur and his Chaos Spawn, but they are not going to be dealing enough damage here, especially when supported by Bestigors. So there you can see Red Duke spawning more stuff on my Ungor Raiders. They're over here as well. And I'm going to see this charge coming, and I'm going to pull these guys around, pull my Bestigors around, just try and swarm this Red Duke, because I don't want him to be able to get up in the air and then lose this opportunity. You can see now Mortis Engine's still up, which is a disgrace. More Vile Ties on that Skeleton Spearman. Just doing some damage, really just keeping my vigor up is what that's for. You can see right here, these guys have very low leadership, but if they weren't fresh, they might even be breaking. These guys would have been gone a long time ago if they weren't fresh, because you can see, I don't know if these guys are, if you can see it on zombie units. Yeah, I guess not. But there's no, like, I'm decently sure there's like some sort of vigor mechanic. It's like exhausted minus 8 leadership or something. Yeah, I don't know. Diminish there, -2. You can see their fatigue got to them and it's going to hit their morale. So anything that can give you extra morale here is going to be useful. It's the Beastmen. And you can see now the Red Duke is going to have a horrible time in here, and he's going to just be starting to get cut down by these Centaurs with great weapons. If he had a dragon, maybe he would have had enough mass here to pull out, but he would be a little bit slower, so the Centaurs would be able to catch him. You can see here another Devolve is going to bring that guy down finally. Let that guy live far too long. Goreherd finally getting on their mission of dealing with zombies, but it's a little late at this point. And really, it's just Morgur that has this balance of power so far in my favor. I do have that full health unit of Bestigor, as Morgur kind of takes some stuff down. He does have 2 more Chaos Spawns. This Bestigor is going to be coming in here. And really, at this point, it's just the Banshee and the Red Duke. But you can see their leadership, army losses, minus 120. Is going to just send the Banshee back to hell. The Goatmen are victorious. You can see just more Vile Tides coming down. Just trying to get rid of these zombies here pretty quick. You know, not force him to be here longer than he has to be. But man, I just love the Centaurs with great weapons. It's just such a great unit. And, you know, not that expensive. Same price as almost Empire Knights, but just so much more useful. Yeah, but you just can't let them kind of get charged because they're so low armor. Here you can see my Centaurs, my Bestigors, all did very well. 150 kills on this almost full health Bestigor tearing through one of those skeleton spears. And you can see my Ungor spears doing their job on some zombies. Same with the Goreherd. Bray Shaman of Wild getting a decent amount of kills there, surprisingly. And the Ungor Raiders doing their job of getting rid of that Claw and Nagash. This Centaur kind of got shut down early on, but it did trade with the Dire Pack, so that's at least that's like 2/3 of its cost there, just by taking out the Dire Pack. And you can see here these Graveguard did pretty well. This one just got crushed. But you really got to be careful that your charges actually get off. And you can see these Crypt Horrors doing so well. I love the Crypt Horrors in the Beastmen matchup because I really believe that the only way you're going to win against the Vampire Counts is with a Bestigor core. Just they need that high leadership to keep their frenzy up, which gives them immunities to psychology. And so as long as that's up, they're not going to rout. But as soon as that goes away, they're off the field. You can see these Blood Knights, only 16 kills. Definitely wish to see those guys with a bit more. And you can see these Skeleton Spearmen. I really just didn't have much for them to attack. But I think that they're definitely a must-bring in this matchup. But anyways, who do you think has the edge in the Vampire versus Beastmen matchup? And what would one of your armies be? Tell me about it in the comments. Anyways, thanks so much, and that's that.